Welcome to the 18-plus horror podcast. Stories too dark for the daylight. If you're brave enough, like and subscribe before it finds you.
It's a Friday night. The kind of night that vibrates with anticipation. The air thick with music and the promise of forgotten worries. March 31st, 2006. Brian Shaffer, a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University, is out with friends, celebrating the start of spring break. He's at the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a popular bar in Columbus. Security footage captures him entering the bar, laughing with his friends. He's seen talking to two women later in the evening, then briefly stepping outside to make a phone call to his girlfriend. He re-enters the bar. And that's it. That's the last confirmed sighting of Brian Shaffer. He vanishes into thin air, swallowed whole by the night. No broken windows, no signs of struggle, no witnesses. He simply ceases to exist inside a crowded bar. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? To be surrounded by people, yet disappear without a trace.
It's a case that defies logic. The Ugly Tuna Saloona was located on the second floor of a shopping center. There were only two ways in or out: the main staircase and a service elevator, both monitored by security cameras. Police reviewed hours of footage, scrutinizing every face, every movement. Nothing. No sign of Brian leaving. The footage shows the bar slowly emptying as the night wears on, but Brian is never seen exiting. It's as if he dissolved into the crowd, a ghost in a sea of faces. And the mystery deepens further when you consider the ongoing investigation. Police interviewed everyone Brian was known to have contacted that night: his friends, family, girlfriend. They searched his apartment, his computer, his phone records. They even drained a nearby pond. Absolutely nothing pointed to his whereabouts, or any reason for him to disappear voluntarily.
The theories surrounding Brian's disappearance are as numerous as they are unsettling. Some speculate he was a victim of foul play, perhaps targeted by someone inside the bar. Others suggest he might have suffered from amnesia and wandered off, unable to remember who he was. Then there are the more unconventional theories. The Ugly Tuna Saloona was built over an old underground tunnel system, leading some to believe he might have fallen into one of these forgotten passages. Given the lack of any physical evidence, the complete absence of any trace of him leaving the bar, some have even entertained the possibility of something supernatural. A glitch in the Matrix, a portal to another dimension. It's a chilling thought, but the circumstances surrounding his disappearance are so bizarre, so inexplicable, that it leaves you grasping at straws.
The most disturbing detail, in my opinion, is the unanswered phone call. Brian spoke to his girlfriend around 1:15 a.m., just before he seemingly vanished. She was expecting him home later that night, but he never arrived. When she tried calling him back, the call went straight to voicemail. His phone was never recovered. This unanswered call hangs in the air, a silent testament to the abrupt and inexplicable nature of his disappearance. It adds another layer of mystery to an already baffling case. Where was his phone? Did he intentionally leave it behind? Or was it taken from him? These are questions that continue to haunt investigators, family, and friends, all still searching for answers after all these years.
Welcome back to 18-Plus Horror Podcast. Last week, we introduced the unsettling disappearance of Brian Shaffer, a 27-year-old medical student who vanished without a trace from a Columbus, Ohio bar in 2006. Tonight, we delve deeper into the chilling specifics of that night, painting a clearer picture of the scene and the individuals involved. It was the beginning of a holiday weekend, March 31st, heading into April Fool's Day. Brian was out celebrating with friends at the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a bar nestled within a busy shopping district. The last confirmed sighting of Brian was around 1:55 a.m., captured on a security camera seemingly talking to two women outside the bar's entrance. Moments later, the camera feed cuts out, leaving us with a disturbingly incomplete narrative. This seemingly ordinary night out transformed into a mystery that continues to baffle investigators and haunt those who knew him.
Precisely. It's crucial to understand the environment Brian was in. The Ugly Tuna Saloona was located on the second floor of a mall-like complex, accessible by escalators and elevators. This seemingly enclosed environment is a key element in the puzzle. Think about it. Multiple entrances and exits, yet seemingly no trace of Brian leaving. He was last seen conversing with friends near the escalator, mere moments before he seemingly evaporated into thin air. There are no records of him leaving the bar via any of the conventional exits, and the security footage offers no clues beyond that final, chilling glimpse. How could someone simply vanish from a crowded bar, seemingly without a trace, in a place presumably covered by security cameras? This is what makes this case so deeply unsettling.
The timeline is also a crucial piece of the puzzle. Brian had been bar hopping with friends earlier in the evening, visiting several locations before ending up at the Ugly Tuna Saloona. He spoke to his girlfriend on the phone shortly before 1 a.m., sounding in good spirits and making plans for their upcoming trip. This adds another layer of mystery. He wasn't exhibiting any signs of distress or unusual behavior, according to his friends and family. It's as if he simply stepped away for a moment and then ceased to exist. This seemingly normal behavior makes his sudden disappearance even more inexplicable and contributes to the growing sense of unease surrounding the case. The contrast between his apparent normalcy and his sudden vanishing is stark and unsettling.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the baffling lack of evidence. Despite extensive searches of the bar, the surrounding area, and even nearby waterways, no trace of Brian has ever been found. No personal belongings, no clothing, no signs of a struggle. It's as if he was swallowed whole by the night. The thoroughness of the investigation, coupled with the complete lack of results, only deepens the mystery. Investigators have explored numerous theories, from accidental death to foul play, but every lead seems to turn into a dead end. The frustrating lack of any concrete evidence leaves us with more questions than answers, and fuels the speculation surrounding Brian's fate. What could have happened to him within that confined space? It's a chilling question that continues to resonate with anyone who examines this case.
It's baffling. Here we are, sifting through the details of Brian Shaffer's disappearance, and everything up to a certain point seems normal. A young medical student out celebrating the start of spring break with his friends. He's seen on CCTV footage entering the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a bar in Columbus, Ohio. He's seen talking to friends, having drinks. Nothing out of the ordinary. Then, around 1:55 a.m., he's seen on the same CCTV footage, briefly talking to two women outside the bar before re-entering. That's the last confirmed sighting of him. He vanishes. Poof! Into thin air. Inside a crowded bar. It's as if he stepped into a hidden doorway. A glitch in reality. What happened in those intervening moments? What could have possibly led to his complete and utter vanishing act? It defies logic.
And that's where things start to get truly disturbing. The bar, as you mentioned, was crowded. Multiple exits were covered by security cameras. Police reviewed hours of footage, painstakingly tracking every person who entered and exited. No Brian. They even interviewed every single person who was in the bar that night. No one remembers seeing him leave. It's as if the earth swallowed him whole. No signs of struggle, no witnesses, no leads. He simply ceased to exist within the confines of that bar. Theories abound, ranging from the mundane to the outlandish, but none truly explain the inexplicable nature of his disappearance. It's a locked-room mystery on a grand scale, played out in a public space under the watchful eye of multiple cameras.
One of the first genuinely strange details that emerged, and something that always catches my attention, is the phone call Brian made to his girlfriend Alexis around 1:15 a.m. that night. According to her, they spoke briefly. He seemed in good spirits, making plans for their upcoming trip. Nothing in his voice suggested distress or unusual behavior. This seemingly innocuous conversation adds another layer to the enigma. If he was abducted, coerced, or even experiencing some sort of personal crisis, wouldn't there have been some indication, some subtle clue in his tone? This call reinforces the impression that his disappearance was sudden and unexpected, not a premeditated act. It's chilling.
Absolutely. And what about the escalator leading up to the bar's exit? This detail, for me, always adds a palpable sense of unease to the whole scenario. The security footage clearly shows Brian entering the bar, but never shows him leaving. Yet the only way out, aside from a service exit that was alarmed and showed no sign of being used, was that escalator. Everyone else who entered the bar that night is seen leaving on that same escalator, captured by the camera. But not Brian. It's as though he walked into the bar and then simply dissolved. The image of that continuously moving escalator, silently carrying people upwards and outwards while Brian remains trapped inside, unseen, is profoundly unsettling. It's like a visual representation of his disappearance, a constant looping cycle that leads nowhere.
So let's try to piece together what we know about Brian Shaffer's last known movements. It's April 1st, 2006. He's a 27-year-old medical student, out celebrating the start of spring break with his friend Clint. They start at a bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloona around 9 p.m., move on to another bar, and then end up at the Ugly Tuna again around 1:15 a.m. Surveillance footage shows him talking to two women outside the bar shortly after, then re-entering the bar alone. And that's it. He vanishes. No further sightings, no activity on his credit cards or cell phone. It's as if he stepped into another dimension through that doorway. How is it possible to just disappear from a crowded bar with multiple exits, all seemingly covered by security cameras? It defies logic.
The fact that he was a medical student adds another layer to the mystery. Brian wasn't some naive kid. He was intelligent, responsible, and had a promising future. He was close to his family, grieving the recent loss of his mother. The idea that he would just walk away from all of that without a trace is incredibly unlikely. Then there's the inexplicable nature of his disappearance from the Ugly Tuna Saloona. The bar is on the second floor of a mall, accessible by elevator or escalator. Both were monitored by cameras, yet there's no record of Brian leaving by either. Some have theorized he used an unfinished service elevator, but that's pure speculation. The police conducted extensive searches, interviewed countless people, even brought in cadaver dogs, but nothing. It's like he was swallowed by the building itself.
The unsettling aspect is the lack of a viable explanation. Foul play? Possible. But there's no evidence of a struggle or forced exit. Suicide? Again, no evidence pointing in that direction, and his friends and family vehemently deny that possibility. Did he have some secret life, some reason to disappear? The investigation uncovered nothing to suggest this. And then there's the infamous smiley face theory, which some have connected to Brian's case. This theory posits a connection between unsolved disappearances of young men near bodies of water and graffiti depicting smiley faces found near the scenes. It's a fringe theory, but the lack of concrete answers in Brian's case leaves even the most far-fetched possibilities on the table. This whole case is a chilling reminder of how easily someone can vanish without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a void of despair.
The smiley face connection is certainly intriguing, albeit disturbing. While it hasn't been officially linked to Brian's case, the chilling pattern of young men vanishing near water is hard to ignore. In Brian's case, there's the Olentangy River running close by, but again, no evidence links him to it. What bothers me most is the dead end the official investigation reached. Despite the surveillance footage, the witness accounts, the extensive searches, absolutely nothing concrete emerged. It's as if Brian Shaffer simply ceased to exist within the confines of that bar. Theories abound: accidental death, abduction, a deliberate disappearance, but none of them quite fit the available facts. And that, perhaps, is the most terrifying aspect of this case. The complete absence of an explanation, the sheer impossibility of his vanishing act, leaves us with a profound sense of unease, a lingering dread that something truly inexplicable happened that night.
The Ugly Tuna Saloona, a seemingly ordinary college bar in Columbus, Ohio. It's where Brian Shaffer was last seen alive in the early hours of April 1st, 2006. Security footage shows him entering the bar, socializing with friends, and even having a conversation with two women just before 2 a.m. But then, something inexplicable happens. The footage shows Brian stepping out of frame briefly, presumably to talk to someone outside. But he never reappears on camera. He vanished into thin air. And there's only one exit accessible to the public. Every single person who left the bar that night was captured on camera, except Brian. It's as if the earth swallowed him whole inside the bar. How can a 27-year-old medical student just disappear from a crowded bar with no explanation? The doors, the windows, the roof, all accounted for. It defies logic.
The most unsettling aspect is the dead end every investigative avenue hits. Police meticulously reviewed hours of security footage, interviewed everyone present that night, searched nearby areas, and even employed cadaver dogs. Nothing. No signs of a struggle, no forced entry, no witnesses who saw anything suspicious. Brian's cell phone, wallet, and car remained untouched. He seemingly had no reason to disappear voluntarily. He was a successful medical student, had a loving girlfriend, and was looking forward to a planned vacation. This wasn't a troubled young man running from his problems. This was a young man who was simply erased from existence inside a busy, well-lit bar. The case grows colder with each passing year, yet the chilling question remains. How could Brian Shaffer simply vanish without a trace? The lack of answers is what truly fuels the horror of this case. It's a void where logic and reason cease to exist.
And the theories surrounding his disappearance only deepen the mystery. Some speculate foul play, but the absence of any evidence makes this difficult to substantiate. Others suggest he might have somehow exited through a service elevator or a ventilation shaft, though both possibilities seem improbable given the bar's layout and Brian's size. Then there are the more unsettling theories. Some whisper of a secret exit unknown to the public, a hidden passage within the building itself leading to unknown places. Others point to the date of his disappearance, April 1st, April Fool's Day, as a sinister coincidence, leading to speculation about a prank gone horribly wrong or even some sort of ritualistic abduction. The lack of concrete evidence leaves the door open for the darkest of possibilities.
Consider the escalator theory, perhaps the most disturbing and discussed. The bar is situated on the second floor of a mall, accessed via an escalator. Security footage captures Brian heading towards the escalator, just before his disappearance. Some believe he may have somehow fallen into the escalator machinery itself, a gruesome possibility that authorities investigated but couldn't corroborate. The escalator was inspected, and no evidence of Brian was found. But the thought of him being crushed and somehow disappearing within the complex mechanism adds another layer of horror to an already inexplicable case. The image of the escalator, a symbol of everyday life, transformed into a potential instrument of death and disappearance, is truly unsettling. It takes something ordinary and twists it into something terrifying, leaving a lingering sense of unease and dread.
The more we delve into Brian Shaffer's disappearance, the more unsettling it becomes. It's like peeling back layers of a nightmare. We've discussed the timeline, the CCTV footage showing him entering the Ugly Tuna Saloona but never leaving. We've analyzed the witness testimonies. His friends claiming he was relatively sober. His girlfriend stating he wasn't exhibiting any unusual behavior. Yet he vanished into thin air. A second, less publicized theory, whispered amongst some locals and online forums, proposes a darker, almost occult-like explanation. Some believe the Ugly Tuna and the building it resided in had a history steeped in, let's just say, unfortunate events. Rumors of a hidden room, unexplained phenomena, and even a supposed curse connected to the land predating the bar's establishment have circulated for years. Could Brian have stumbled upon something he shouldn't have? Something beyond our comprehension?
It's certainly a chilling thought, though, understandably, law enforcement focuses on more tangible leads. However, dismissing these local legends entirely might be a mistake. I dug deeper into the history of the building and discovered some unsettling accounts. Apparently, before the Ugly Tuna, the space housed a series of ill-fated businesses. One was a speakeasy during Prohibition, rumored to have been involved in some rather unsavory activities, including possible disappearances. Another was a pawn shop, where a gruesome murder-suicide took place. These events, coupled with the building's location near a supposedly ancient burial ground, create a disturbing narrative. Could there be a residual energy, a darkness clinging to the location that somehow played a role in Brian's vanishing?
That's what some believe. A former employee of the Ugly Tuna who wishes to remain anonymous contacted us after our last episode. They claimed to have experienced strange occurrences within the bar. Unexplained cold spots, objects moving on their own, disembodied whispers. They even mentioned seeing a shadowy figure lurking in the back hallways, near where the alleged hidden room is supposed to be. This individual also corroborated the stories about the building's past, suggesting that something malevolent resided within its walls. They believe Brian may have inadvertently become a victim of this unseen force.
It's undeniably unsettling. While we must approach such claims with healthy skepticism, the sheer number of unusual incidents associated with this location is hard to ignore. Could there be a connection between the building's dark history and Brian's disappearance? Perhaps he did stumble upon this hidden room, triggering something, disturbing something that shouldn't have been disturbed. The idea of a curse, of a malevolent entity claiming victims, is a terrifying prospect. But in the face of such a baffling mystery, where conventional explanations seem to fail, perhaps we need to consider the possibility that something more sinister, something beyond our current understanding, is at play.
So we've meticulously dissected the timeline of Brian Shaffer's disappearance. He's seen on CCTV entering the Ugly Tuna Saloona, chatting with friends, seemingly enjoying his night. Then, inexplicably, he vanishes. No footage of him leaving the bar, no witnesses, no trace. Theories abound, of course. Some suggest he climbed onto the roof and fell into a dumpster, though searches yielded nothing. Others propose a more sinister scenario, perhaps involving foul play. But with no concrete evidence, we're left with a chilling void. What strikes me as particularly unsettling is the closed-circuit nature of the bar. It's almost as if he stepped into another dimension, a glitch in the matrix. And this brings us to the truly disturbing aspect of this case. The chilling possibility of something more inexplicable.
Right, the second elevator theory, although lacking tangible proof, adds a layer of unease. The bar apparently had 2 elevators, yet surveillance footage only captures Brian entering one. The idea that he could have exited via a second unrecorded elevator is unsettling, almost as if there's a hidden passage, a blind spot in reality itself. And then there's the unsettling detail of his father, Randy Shaffer's death. He tragically passed away in a freak accident involving a falling tree limb, almost as if fate, or some darker force, was preventing him from finding his son. The timing, the sheer improbability. It's hard not to feel a creeping sense of dread when considering these coincidences. Where is the line between coincidence and something more sinister?
Exactly. It's these unexplained details that fuel the more unconventional theories. Some have suggested a connection to the nearby underground tunnels, remnants of Columbus's past. Could he have wandered into these forgotten spaces, becoming lost or perhaps encountering something else down there? Then there are the whispers of online conspiracy theories, proposing staged disappearances, government involvement, even abduction. As investigators, we're trained to prioritize logic, evidence, and reason. But in a case like Brian Shaffer's, the absence of those very things is what makes it so profoundly disturbing.
And that's the truly terrifying part. The lack of closure, the gaping hole in the narrative. We're left with this unsettling feeling that something isn't right, a sense of incompleteness. It's like a story with a missing final page, leaving us forever suspended in a state of unease. Did he simply vanish into thin air? Was there a more sinister force at play? Or is there a piece of the puzzle we're overlooking? A hidden clue that could unlock the truth? The answers, it seems, remain lost in the shadows, leaving us to grapple with the chilling mystery of what happened to Brian Shaffer.
So we've meticulously dissected the timeline of Brian Shaffer's disappearance, from his arrival at the Ugly Tuna Saloona to the seemingly impossible vanishing act captured by the security camera. We've examined the witness testimonies, the police reports, and even the more outlandish theories involving secret exits and alternate realities. Yet we are left with more questions than answers. How could a young man simply vanish into thin air from a crowded bar? The security footage shows no sign of him leaving through any of the exits, and the thorough searches of the surrounding areas yielded nothing. It's as if he stepped into a hidden dimension, a blind spot in reality itself. The case remains a chilling testament to the unknown, a stark reminder of the mysteries that lurk just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. The eerie silence surrounding Brian's fate continues to echo through the years, a haunting reminder of the fragility of our existence.
And the most unsettling aspect of this case, to me, is the utter lack of a discernible motive. Brian was a seemingly happy, well-adjusted medical student with a bright future ahead of him. There's no indication of foul play, no evidence of a struggle, no reason for him to disappear voluntarily. His phone, wallet, and car were all left behind. He was just gone. The inexplicable nature of his vanishing adds another layer of disturbing intrigue to the case. It challenges our understanding of reality, forcing us to confront the possibility that there are forces at work beyond our comprehension. The unsettling ambiguity surrounding Brian's disappearance leaves a lingering sense of unease, a chilling reminder that even in the most ordinary of circumstances, the unimaginable can occur. This isn't a neat solvable puzzle. It's a chaotic jumble of questions with no answers.
Precisely. The theories surrounding his disappearance range from the mundane to the truly bizarre. Some suggest he fell victim to an undiscovered accident, perhaps falling into a hidden service shaft within the bar. Others propose more sinister scenarios, involving unknown assailants or even organized crime. And then there are the theories that venture into the realm of the supernatural, whispering of hidden portals and alternate dimensions. The lack of concrete evidence allows these theories to flourish, adding to the overall mystique and horror of the case. It's a chilling reminder that some mysteries may remain forever unsolved, leaving us to grapple with the unsettling unknown. What truly happened to Brian Shaffer that night inside the Ugly Tuna Saloona? The answer, it seems, remains lost in the shadows.
We're left with a haunting image, the last known sighting of Brian Shaffer, captured on grainy security footage, seemingly oblivious to the fate that awaited him. He's just a young man on a night out with friends, caught in a perpetual loop, forever frozen in time. The silence surrounding his disappearance is deafening, amplified by the unanswered questions that continue to haunt us. If you have any insights, theories, or information regarding this case, no matter how seemingly insignificant, we urge you to reach out. Perhaps, together, we can shed some light on this enduring mystery, and finally bring some closure to the haunting disappearance of Brian Shaffer. Let the eerie melody that accompanies this case serve as a constant reminder of the unanswered questions, a haunting echo in the silence.
That was this week's Dive into Darkness. Subscribe to the 18+ Horror Podcast and come back if you can sleep again.
You've been listening to Whispers After Midnight. Sweet dreams, if you can sleep.